Hi everyone, and welcome back to Red Plays. Today I'm actually not going to start by playing anything. I thought we'd have a little bit of a discussion. I was watching a video the other day, and it just sort of came back into my mind about something that I had seen before. Now, before I start this video, yes, you are still looking just at my desktop, but I will just let you know that what you're about to see, as far as we know, does not exist anymore. The company in question did cease trade or cease business in 2018. I'm just going to pull it up here and bring it across. So the company we're looking at today is called Scientific Revenue, and they ceased business in mid-2018. So I just thought I'd start that now. So please keep in mind that this, as far as we know, doesn't exist anymore, but still have a little listen to the video. So I'm going to put it on in a minute, and I am not looking forward to having to show you this, because this thing did exist and it was quite terrifying when I first saw it. But I will put it up now, and if you're standing, please take a seat, because it's, well, I'll let Scientific Revenue explain exactly what it's trying to do. Alright, here we go. Scientific Revenue.
Mobile games are a massive business, but competition is fierce, and the cost to acquire new players keeps going up. To have any chance of turning players into payers, game developers need to get their in-app purchases right. But different people respond to different prices at different times. So why offer the same prices to everyone all the time? To boost revenue, you need deep insights into your players and the ability to customize prices for each. What if you could deliver the right price at the right time for the right buyer? Scientific Revenue lets you stay focused on what you do best, making great games. We deliver dynamic pricing that increases conversion, reduces churn, and boosts the lifetime revenue of your app. Our plugin easily integrates into your game and common game development environments, where it captures hundreds of data points that inform purchase decisions. With predictive analytics and machine learning, our dynamic pricing engine analyzes pricing signals, segments players in real time, and automatically delivers targeted pricing. We increase your in-app purchase revenue by an average of 20 to 40% with no changes to gameplay. With better insights at your fingertips, you can keep improving engagement and retention. Now, nothing stands between you and monetization. Contact us today for more information.
Alright, so there you have it. There's Scientific Revenue. I'll give you a minute just to pick your jaw off the floor. Now, remember what I just finished saying as well. This company no longer trades, it no longer has business, like they don't operate anymore. But let's break this down and just put that into perspective as to what they're looking at here. So if we scroll through here, they're talking about like, you know, being able to offer. So in here, it was something about trying to offer the right price to the right person. So let's listen to it.
To boost revenue, you need deep insights into your players and the ability to customize prices for each.
So what it's basically saying there is that it's trying to learn like what sort of price value you as a player sit at. So if you're somebody who's maybe never made a purchase before on any sort of game, Scientific Revenue wouldn't have known that you've done that or not done that, and then be able to price to you accordingly and to try and entice you into making a purchase. You know, you can see on the graphic there it says $5.65, but like that's probably quite large for a first-time spender. Someone like who's maybe never spent money before would be looking at like 99 cents or $1 or something. So to hear that this is like weighing you up against other people is just absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it when I first saw this, you know. And let's scroll through again. Like, let's just go to the next little bit here. So have a look at this image here. So increases conversions, reduces churn, and boosts revenue. So to me, that sort of looks like it's trying to like sort of wade out the fluff, you know, like don't don't worry about these people so much, and hone in on targets. You know, people who are maybe more susceptible to make that purchase especially once they've made sort of made that first initial purchase. There's another little video I'm going to show you in a moment that sort of adds to this, what we're seeing here. And like, this is pretty scary stuff when you think about it. I'm just going to scroll through again, and we're just going to have a look. So at this point of the video, it says that, you know, this is how we can like implement it into your app, and it can work with all these sort of files here, all these types here. There's no others. The thing that scares me the most about this is this one, not so much. Not so much, not so much, not so much. But Unity and Unreal Engine. You know, Unreal Engine has quite a diverse... Well, it's got a lot of games that can run in Unreal Engine. You know, and not all of the games are like live service sort of games and all that sort of stuff, but there are quite a few that optimize in like microtransactions and all that sort of stuff, and that's really quite scary. Same with Unity. There's a lot of freeware games and all that sort of stuff that come from Unity, and like, to know that that goes into an app and makes this purchase, it makes the ability to read and evaluate data based on what you're doing on your phone is quite scary. Now, I don't really play too many phone games, not just because of this, but I'm not really a big phone gamer. I do have a couple of games, but they're not like, I would never opt to play a phone game over playing on my PC or my PS4, for an example. But at the moment, this video is showing that it's targeted towards like phone games. But how do we know as consumers that this is purely the target of a mobile phone device? We sit here and go, oh yeah, it's just mobile phones, so it doesn't really matter unless I'm a phone gamer, but there's no way to know. And I'll show you what I mean in just a moment, as we just scan through to this last little bit here. So look at the types of things that this like software, this algorithm is looking at. So in terms of the mobile phone, it knows your phone type, how long you play for, how far you are in the game, the location of you, like the person, how much you would spend. So I actually wonder if that is in terms of just spending in the game or making purchases through your mobile. You know, like how deep does this well go? The intensity of engagement, so how, I suppose that would be how long do you spend playing. I suppose that sort of ties up with the duration of play, because the intensity of engagement, unless it's using the camera, like how would you sort of know what days you play, and the affluence. Like, this is terrifying, right? This is terrifying. We all always think that, you know, Big Brother's watching us and all that sort of stuff, but this is during our downtime. You know, like, a lot of people play video games to escape for a couple of hours or half an hour or so each day, or, you know, a couple of times a week. But you're not really escaping. Like, this is kind of really scary when you think about how the gaming industry nowadays is sort of targeting these microtransactions and loot boxes. And this here shows that we are being targeted. And I know this is sort of, people might sit there and go, oh, you know, Red, like, duh, like, why are you showing this? But this is a machine that's learning. You know, this is a machine that understands what we do, when we do it, and how we do it when we play our games. What's to stop, like, big companies putting this in? I'm not saying any of these games are sort of doing that, but imagine like a game like Fortnite or something like that, or PUBG, Call of Duty, like these games that prioritize like cosmetics for guns and weapon skins and all that sort of stuff. What's to stop them from putting this in? You know, we don't know anything about it. Like, we have no idea. And that, like, that ignorance to us really does give these companies an advantage. Like if you look here at this image, you know, it's like, well, look at, based on all of this, we can now determine what we should maybe offer this to you at. So I have not really seen it in a AAA console PC game, but look at like when you play a phone game, for example, and you're looking at like you might level up in something and it'll give you a level up reward, and it's like, oh, if you can get this for like 90% off if you purchase it as you level up. This to me sort of shows this algorithm here, you know, how this works and all that sort of stuff. And that's really quite scary, you know. And then they talk obviously about increasing their revenue and all that sort of stuff. And like, I don't know, this, even though they're not around anymore, I find this still so terrifying because of the way that the game industry is right now. The thought process that we are being watched every single time we play. I mean, we understand that we're being watched to a certain extent, obviously. But to the point where it knows so much about us and how we engage with a product or a game or something like that. And to know that it's learning that, like, we are, like, you can pinch the pennies from us, you know. And when we're most susceptible for that sort of engagement, that's, ooh, wow. It is absolutely terrifying. I just couldn't believe it, and I was watching a video the other day, and this sort of came up. The reason why the video I was watching was one by Jim Sterling, and if you've not seen Jim's work before, I definitely recommend you go and give him a watch after this video, because he's one of the main critics that are out there, or video game video game journalist who is just so switched on and like shoots really straight. I definitely recommend watching this. And I was watching this, I was like, okay, so if we have a look at this video here, and again, credit to Pocket Gamer Biz. Thank you very much. I'm just borrowing this for the sake of this video. I believe it falls under terms of fair use. But if you have a look at this, it's Let's Go Whaling, tricks for monetizing mobile game players with free-to-play. Remember free-to-play, because free-to-play really could be like, there's not just free-to-play games on mobile devices. So like, the thing that really scares me about this is the fact that we don't know, and I've said this numerous times, but I'm going to just show you this little thing here with Hook Habit Hobby, and you'll see what I'm saying. Alright, let's watch.
With lots of time and resources into it. Now, if we look at this from a monetization perspective, the hook is where you put up an icebreaker. You want to give a really, really good deal, something that's a no-brainer. You would be crazy to turn it down as a player. The reason to give a really good deal up front is by making people spend up front, they are also emotionally committing to your game, their retention will go up. And the first spend is it breaks the ice, then they think of themselves as spenders in the game. It's okay for me to spend in the game. Lots of people are otherwise have this wall up, I will never pay for a mobile game. So you need to break the wall first. The habit is like the main meat of the game. This is where you sell the faster progress, as we just discussed. And the hobby is for the guys who have already maxed out. They're the guys who have all of their Clash of Clans building at the max level. They are already there. So you can no longer sell progress to them, you have to sell consumables. This is where you're selling the faster healing times or faster build times of armies. This is also where you get basically unlimited upper spend. There's no limit to how much you can spend in, for instance, Clash of Clans. So let's go down into some...
Okay, so you just saw that there, just as I did. Hook Habit Hobby. The thing that drives me nuts about this is this ties into Scientific Revenue's sort of idea or the algorithm to monetize just so well. The hook. So finding something to be able to draw you in. So if you have a look at like games like Call of Duty, you know, you want those quick quick kills, quick games, get in, get out. But not only that too, you're also looking at weapon skins. I do believe some of Call of Duty's guns are locked behind loot boxes. I don't know if it's changed, but I do know that they were in there at one point, you know. And you're sitting there, so you'll be playing a game, and then you get killed, and then you see that they have a gun that is locked behind a loot box, but you really want the gun. You now have to either go without, or perhaps wait a long time to unlock it, or you can pick it up. You're already invested, because if you enjoy Call of Duty, then you're already going to spend money on it and enjoy it and play it. So you're already in at that respect, you know. And then they're talking about a really good deal. Well, if they can rank you up and offer you, let's say for an example, you get killed a lot by an AK-47, you know, and if the game is listening to you, if you've got your microphone on, for example, because again, we don't know if scientific revenues software was ever implemented into these games, so, but it's never really said that it wasn't. I tried looking around and I couldn't find it. So if it's listening to us and it hears that we really want an AK-47 and it doesn't give it to us at, say, rank 5, we still don't have one. What's to stop that algorithm from picking out the AK-47 and going, hey, it normally costs, I don't know what the name of Call of Duty's premium currency is, but let's say credits. You know, it normally costs 2,000 credits, which is the equivalency of, say, $25. But now you can have it for, I don't know, 1,000 credits. You know, or you can have it for 500 credits. But you only have, like, 300 credits. So now you have to make a spend up front. And what he's talking about here is the fact that you need to make a really good deal. And that's what's really terrifying, because especially if you're looking at like younger players, like kids and people who maybe don't understand this concept really well, that really draws people in. Like, this is now going from have a little something extra for a few extra dollars to trying to really, really prey on getting you those items. And then of course, because you're already invested in the title, like a Call of Duty game, for example, you've already got the habit to sit down and play it. You know, I always enjoy replaying it. I always enjoy coming back in and getting these little things, you know. So you're automatically going to be progressing. That one's fairly straightforward. But now, consumables for COD, I don't really know. But again, like, he did a pretty good job of explaining it. Like, if you're looking at a game like Clash of Clans, like, to get to max level and then only to be buying consumables, I don't know if you can buy consumables in the game, like with your in-game currency. If you can, you probably wouldn't get them at the same rate. So to know that you could then spend your money rather than on progression at the end game, and instead spend it on consumables, you've already put two things in place. You've enticed people in with something that's really good, and then you've made a habit because they always feel like they're progressing. So they sit there and they go, oh, every time I level up, I get a chance to maybe purchase something a lot cheaper, or I have a chance to unlock a unit early. I don't know, anything. But by the time you get to the hobby stage, like, you've invested however many dozens of hours, if not hundreds of hours into it, and you've spent money. So psychologically, you've sort of said to yourself, well, I've spent so much time playing this game and I've spent money on it, so what's the problem in spending more money on it? You know, we do it so unconsciously that we're not even aware, you know. So like, look at like your favorite game. Pick it in your head. If it's a game that has expansions and you really enjoy the game, do you really even second guess or even think twice about buying those expansions, or do you just sort of buy them? Or a season pass, you know? If it's a game you know you're going to enjoy, like Skyrim, for example, you're just automatically going to go, well, I'll buy the expansion pass for Skyrim because I like it. And that's where this sort of comes into play. Now, obviously, a single-player experience to a multiplayer online experience is very different, but you're still looking at the same sort of tactic. You know, I really want to invest my money into this game because I've already gotten so much out of it. You know, it's a dangerous sort of thing, and that's really quite scary. So now that we've gotten there, let's go into my thoughts about it. Actually, before we do that, I'll just show you this. So this is going back to Scientific Review. Throughout this whole video, I've sort of said that we didn't really know about it. I'll just show you this. An anonymous game developer allegedly appalled by dynamic pricing tipped off Sterling about the existence of Scientific Review. Sterling then contacted the company directly to ask more about the service. You know, so it sounds like, just by that statement there, that even Jim Sterling wasn't aware of it at the time, and he's part of like games journalism and all that sort of stuff. So he's in that industry of probing around, finding answers to what people want to know and all that sort of stuff. And he didn't even have any idea about this at the time. I mean, I'm only guessing. It's like a simple guess, but to know that if he's now reporting on it and no one else seems to have it, like, that's really scary, because it just goes to show, if they can hide this until someone comes out and goes, hey, this is crap, I don't really want to deal with this anymore, you need to shed some light on it. What else are they hiding from us? You know, what else are they hiding from us? What else do we not know when we get into this sort of stuff? So I just thought I'd show you that as well, and now I will get on to my closing thoughts about this. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, before I go into my closing thoughts, this is Warframe. This is a free-to-play game that uses the online, it's a free-to-play game, and it uses microtransactions to support itself. The thing that I just wanted to show you about it is there is definitely a good way to do microtransactions. So let me just show you this for a sec. From here, if I go into my equipment and I go into my inventory, now if I go to Warframes, so from here it actually gives me slots, right? So it's a free to play game, there's probably about, I don't know, 30 or so Warframes in it, and it gives me 2 slots. Now in order to create more slots, I have to obviously purchase them. So if I'm here, 1 Warframe slot costs me 20 platinum, and they start me off with 50. So I could essentially buy 2 Warframe slots. Now you can't purchase Warframes outright and just own them, or you can farm them and buy the blueprints with in-game currency known as credits. So I can buy the blueprint and then go and find the 3 components and put them all together and then create Warframes that way. And that way I'm not actually spending any platinum to just buy these suits outright. However, what I can do from here, as I said, is if I'm stuck with this and if I don't want to spend any money, I can actually trade in-game and get platinum to unlock like more stuff. It's the same thing here with weapons. So from here to buy, there you go, to weapon slots, 4 open slots I have left, and I can add 2 more weapon inventory slots, which will cover a primary, secondary, or a melee weapon for 12 platinum. Okay, so I could essentially buy 1 Warframe slot and 2 weapon slots, or 2 Warframe slots, and I can still have a little bit of a taste of what's happening. The open benefit of that, of course, as well, as I said, because I can trade, I can actually make that a lot easier for myself to enjoy the game without having to spend the money. So it's whether or not you choose to spend it that you have to, or you don't have to. So from here, if I just show you again quickly, like, here's all my stuff that I can purchase. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got a 50% off on platinum. So as I said, it's a free to play game, of course it's going to offer you stuff. So if I go here, it's going to open up a web browser. Okay, and if you have a look here, the cheapest one, you get 75 platinum for $5.50. You know, $5.50, 75 platinum. That's 3 Warframe slots if I really want to. That's actually not too bad. If I buy 2 Warframe slots, I still have room to buy some weapon slots as well. And it's only cost me $5.50. So at the very least, to see if I actually like this game, I could spend $5.50 and 1, support the developer if I choose to and I like the game enough to want to support it, or 2, not spend anything, decide to just stick with what I've got and then go from there. So, you know, there's a lot here to see, and there's a lot of things that I can enjoy. you know, and that's the beauty of it. Now, the thing about Warframe is, of course, it is a free-to-play game, so it needs to make its money from somewhere. And I feel like this is the best way to do it. I'm going to show you a little bit of gameplay. The idea behind it is the game does feel repetitive at sometimes. Some of the quests are quite similar, but the beautiful thing about it is it's so fast and so enjoyable that it does make things a lot more interesting. So as I talk about as I show you this, I'm going to talk to you more about how I sort of feel about this Outland revenue. Sorry, I'm thinking about Seinfeld. Scientific revenue, and it's just, to me, it just seems like it's an absolute waste of time. Like, and not only that too, it's scary to think that game developers can put that sort of stuff in their games and feel like maybe, you know, it would change how we spend. And I'm sure it does. You know, it's a predatory act, and not only that too, it also makes us feel unsure about what we want as consumers. To me, I personally feel it's like, it's not so much that you want it, it's because we say that you want it. And the more that I feel like that, the less I feel like I want to engage in that sort of practice. Now, that's a fairly... it's fairly easy to agree with that, I sort of feel, but at the same time too, like, there's a lot of people that don't know about this sort of stuff. They don't know that this sort of action is happening. You know, they don't know that they may be being manipulated, like, for their money. And if you have a look at what's happening in the industry at the moment, we're seeing a lot of kids who are clearing out their parents' bank account just purely because they buy microtransactions or loot boxes or something like that, and they have no idea of what they are and what it means for parents who eventually end up having nothing left in the bank. So when I look at that sort of stuff, it makes me angry, because if they were just honest and they made a decent product to begin with, like, people would be able to say, well, I really enjoy this game, and I actually feel like I want to support the development team and with all the hard work that they've put in. So I will happily, like, put out a little bit more money and support it. And the thing that annoys me to the absolute thing, to the wall and back, or to the moon and back, is the fact that, like, they all have it in them to make a really good product. You know, I honestly believe that a lot of game developers out there have the means to make a really fantastic product that people will generally enjoy. And it frustrates me to feel that maybe a larger company, not to name names, but a larger company would sideline that passion, that creativity, for the money. The idea behind that is simply the fact that if they made a good product to begin with, then people would obviously spend the money. You know, if you've got a really good initial product, people are more than happy to put money down. I am a big fan of The Witcher and Cyberpunk and all that sort of stuff. I know a lot of you who have seen this channel know that I'm a big fan of those. But when I found out that Witcher 3 was going to have a season pass, I was like, well, I've enjoyed the first two games. I've enjoyed this game. As soon as the season pass becomes available, I'm going to purchase it. And I did. But then I found out that they had a physical copy of each expansion. And a friend of mine said, are you going to buy that because you're such a fan, but you already have the season pass? And what they didn't know is I'd actually put a pre-order on both of them and pick them up. And he asked me, like, why did you do that when you already have that sort of stuff? And I said to him very simply, it's the fact that I've enjoyed this content so much and I like what they do, and the fact that I can get some collectible Gwent cards to add a little bit more value to something I already purchased made me feel like I wanted to support, like, that company even more. Now, that might sound like I'm selling out, but at the same time too, the argument I can counter with is the fact that you only need to look at what CD Projekt Red offers with The Witcher 3. The game has seen a very large resurgence over the last couple of weeks with the Witcher TV show having come out, and the idea that that's getting a second like innings, a second run, is just insane. You know, there's going to be a whole group of people now who have maybe never played the game before, who are now going to have a chance to play it. You know, and that in turn helps that series, that name, get out there even more. So without the developers really putting any money into it, or any more money or time into it, they've made a very profitable franchise even more profitable. And that's all without you know, third-party involvement like Scientific Revenue, without all these little like hook habits and hobbies. It's just a good product that is made really well, and it speaks for itself. You know, so with that, this has been a really long video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to sort of say about it and just showing you this sort of stuff. I think, like, even though they're not around anymore, you really need to know that they were, because as I said before, and I've said it numerous times in this video, you just don't know. We don't know what's in our games. All we know is that we have a game. And I think with a little bit of warning that this was once a thing, I think we can actually make sure or hope that we don't get anything like that again. So with that, I hope you enjoyed. Please give this video a like, comment down below what are your thoughts about this issue, even though, as I said, it doesn't exist anymore, we just don't know. Leave a comment down below and share this video out with your friends. With that, I'll see you next time. My name's Red. I'm out.